Hello, everyone. This is Jeff Foley with Paladin Financial. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Paladin Financial Talk. We have a wonderful show today. Finally, after all of our equipment has been set up. Thank you, Tony. We have Mr. Tony Shore, as always, as our lovely co-host, and we have a remote host with us today, a returning guest for us, Mr. Austin Wikstrom of Wikstrom Insurance Agency. Austin is not joining us by video, just the audio side here today, but welcome, Austin.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, so we understand you just rode into town on a sled. Is that right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, very good. You went up north, did some snowmobiling.
Yes, yeah. My dad and I had a fun trip, just a quick 2-night trip, but yeah, it was a good time.
Good, good. Well, we appreciate you taking some time to join us. So, Austin Wikstrom runs Wikstrom Insurance Agency, and a lot of our listeners that are clients of ours might know Austin, as he's helped a lot of you save money on your home, auto, umbrella insurance. Lots of fun stuff there. And we had him on sometime last year. I don't know what the date was, but we thought we'd get a quick update. There's been a number of changes in the industry. Rates have gone up, if you haven't gotten the memo, over the last year for a lot of people and a lot of different type of coverage, and just talk about what's going on there and some things that you might be able to do to lower your cost on coverage, but also make sure that you have the appropriate type of coverage in place. So, Austin, tell us a little bit about your business, what you do for folks, and how you help some of our clients as well.
Yeah, so I have been in the insurance industry for about 10 or 11 years now. I started at State Farm during college, and then I was there for a couple of years, and then I opened my own brokerage up April of 2017, so coming up on 8 years in about a couple months. Um, so that's kind of where I started at. But yeah, we do home auto, business insurance, workers' comp. Really, the only thing we don't do is health insurance. But yeah, we have numerous carriers. We're a brokerage, so people, our clients and prospects get shopped around with numerous companies to find the best coverages and rate for them. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit about the agency here.
That's great. So,
what about snowmobiles? Would you insure a snowmobile?
Yep, yeah, toys, recreational vehicles for sure as well.
Awesome.
I forgot to mention that one.
Yeah, I thought it would be fresh on your mind.
Yeah, you would think, but
yeah, so similar to how Paladin is set up, we're an independent firm, represent different companies on the insurance side for like life insurance, for example, annuities, things like that. So Austin is independent, and again, yeah, has helped a lot of our clients save money and get the right type of coverage in place. But kind of starting things off, looking at some general questions. Again, I touched on this at the beginning, is that we've seen a lot of increases in coverage, carriers exiting different markets, a lot of craziness going on in the insurance world. Can you give us a little insight into what's happening, what's causing that, and what do you see going forward?
yeah, well, that's the $1 million question these days. So really, since COVID, things really took a turn for the worse. Really, I'll give you a couple of the bigger problems why we're all seeing increases. The claim amounts in the state of Minnesota have been through the roof, especially it really started spiraling 3-4 years ago when COVID started. For some reason, that triggered more people to file claims that they didn't necessarily need to file, but they kind of panic filed, and we're seeing 2 to 3 large hailstorms every year in the state. So there's really not that many hailstorms throughout the year, and but those when they do arrive, they hit hard. As well as hailstorms, and then material and labor costs keep going up and up since COVID.
Yes, I do.
So and I looked at like labor costs and material costs. Minnesota was 4 percentage points higher than the national average last year. As well as residential and commercial reconstruction costs, we were almost double the national average. I can't get it. I don't know the details on exactly why, because I'm not a contractor. I don't order materials and stuff, but just those are taking a toll on the insurance company's claims payouts. Where a roof before COVID would maybe cost 20,000, it's costing 30 to 40, 30 to 35, maybe 40,000 these days. So those are kind of the main reasons why we're all seeing increases, right? The last 2-3 years.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned COVID. Were people filing fraudulent claims or in response to not knowing what was going to happen with the economy and just looking for ways to make money?
No, not necessarily. I mean, that happens all the time,
Yeah.
unfortunately, but I don't think there was a increase in that. What I've been getting a lot of as far as and I just sent out a mass email to all my clients about our recommended claims procedure with filing, because we've gotten a lot of people calling in from other carriers saying their carriers are dropping them because they filed claims that were what's called zero paid out claims. So people file a claim before knowing the extent of their home damage. And then let's say they have a $2,500 deductible, which is the most common these days. If their damage is only $2,000, well, that doesn't even hit their deductible. So the claim is called a zero paid out claim. Now, most people don't think that affects them, but it indeed does affect their future eligibility with their carrier and other carriers. So we threw out an email, and I can send this off to you guys too, for your knowledge. But I sent out an email to all my clients about our recommended claims process, which is to get a contractor out there first and get a free estimate on the extent of the damage to make sure that the claim is claim worthy. So a lot of people are just calling their insurance carrier before getting the extent of the damage figured out. And with car insurance these days, most of the accidents you're in, especially with the newer vehicles, a sensor on a backup camera, whatever it might be, that easily adds up over your deductible. But the home insurance is where we're seeing a big majority of people having to go to the state risk pool because they have too many zero paid out claims. So,
okay. That's interesting.
Interesting. I had no idea that was the case. So that's good to know.
Yeah. Be careful before you claim. What are some other mistakes people make when it comes to getting home and auto insurance that you see?
Biggest mistakes, I would say, like I tell people, insurance isn't it's not a warranty plan. It's meant for larger losses. It's not meant for $1,000 to $3,000 losses. It's meant for roof damage or siding damage. Bigger catastrophic losses is what it was always meant for. Also, another mistake would probably be people going online to get insurance, because a lot of the times they don't know what exactly they're purchasing, and a lot of them choose state minimum coverages that really don't do much for you for protection, but they choose that because it looks good, for the premium amount. So I would say that would be one of the bigger mistakes people do is going online and not talking to a local broker about their coverages.
Okay. So not allowing it to be too commoditized and make sure that you're getting the right kind of coverage for you.
Exactly.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, you don't want to be underinsured.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
How often should people take a look at the coverage that they have, the carrier that they're with, and kind of rebuild or reshop that? Would you recommend?
So usually here we do an annual review with every client. So once a year, I would recommend. Anything more than that usually isn't needed, unless you see, an auto insurance renewal. If you have a 6-month plan, if that skyrockets, then obviously we need to take a look at it. But overall, if your premium is growing or increasing at the standard rate, I think once a year is pretty much what we usually do for our clients.
What happens if someone, let's say, has a 6-month premium and they look at and evaluate and they decide to switch plan, let's say from a State Farm to one of the many insurance companies that you represent. How does that work with the premium?
Yeah, so it depends if they're in the middle of a term or at the end of their renewal. If they're in the middle of the term and, we're saving them, let's just say $100 a month, um, they would then, they can cancel, you can cancel your insurance at any date. You don't have to wait until renewal dates. That's another thing people usually think they have to do. But if you cancel midterm, you get a prorated refund for your example, State Farm. If you paid in for a month and you canceled half month in, you would get that other half month back as a prorated refund, and then you would just start the new policy with our office the same date as the cancellation date with State Farm. So then there's no lapse in coverage.
Okay.
Makes sense.
So you don't have to wait until the end of the term and time that perfectly.
No, you do not.
And then bundling is something that a lot of companies offer discounts if you bundle different types of coverage. Does that really save you? I mean, it would save you. How does that compare to versus getting the right coverage with different companies? And you have the convenience factor to consider in that as well.
Yeah, so a lot of the independent carriers that we sell for, Nationwide, Travelers, Progressive, Geico, Liberty Mutual, just to name a few, Travelers, if I didn't mention them, a lot of them will give discounts to the insured, even if they don't have the home and auto with, let's just say both with Nationwide. They can have a Nationwide house policy and a Progressive auto policy. And because they're both with the same broker with our office, they still qualify and get that bundle discount. Now, that bundle discount is a little bit less than if you have both with one carrier, but a lot of the times we'll see where I would say over half of our clients are in that situation where they have one policy with one carrier and the other policy with a second carrier, because that, auto rate was really competitive compared to the home rate was really competitive on the other side. So we do see that a lot. But if you do bundle with the same carrier, a lot of the carriers that we sell for actually have came out. I mean, it's probably been out for 5 years now, but they offer a one deductible per claim. So if there's let's say a hailstorm and you're getting a new roof and siding on the house insurance, and you had a car parked outside, and that also got damaged, and you had comprehensive coverage on that, you only are paying one deductible between the two policies. You don't have to pay your auto deductible, and you don't have to pay your home deductible. You will only pay, I think you pay the larger of the two, which would be your home insurance. So you'd only pay the, $2,500 deductible. You would not have to pay the $500 as well for the auto claim, if that makes sense.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay.
I did
Didn't
not
know
know
that.
that.
Yeah. So some of them automatically include that in their policies, and some of them, it's an endorsement that you have to pay a little bit more to have on.
Okay. With homeowners insurance, what are some of the moving parts that determine what premium someone is paying? Obviously the value of the home, but what are some other moving parts, and are there things people can do to get additional discounts, improve the premiums that they're paying?
Yeah. So the number one factor in home insurance, especially in the last 3 to 4 years, is the age of their roof. That's the first thing I ask new prospects that are looking for quotes. Because a lot of carriers have a cutoff. So I have some carriers that won't take a roof that's older than 10 years old. I have some that won't take new business that's 15 years old of a roof. So that's a huge one right now. They're starting to slow down the requirements for age of roof. So it's getting better, but that was a big factor the last 3 to 4 years. And then other things like you said, Jeff, how big is the home? Each carrier has what's called a replacement cost estimator. So we plug in the square footage of the house, the quality of the finishes to your countertops, to your flooring, how many bathrooms there are, is the basement finished. So we enter all that in to the carrier's websites, and they kick back a replacement cost coverage that they want to cover the house for. And then other factors for cost is, location. So how close are you to a fire station? If you're more rural and you're further away, if you're 10 miles or more to a fire station, that impacts your eligibility and price. And then stuff like your plumbing, electrical, furnace, and air conditioning units. The newer all four of those are, the better for rate as well. So those are kind of the main ones that impact it.
Okay. And with roofing, that should be a word though, I think.
Roofing.
We're really roofing here. With roofing in Minnesota, can you explain something changed the last couple of years on how that is covered in Minnesota? I don't know if it's just in Minnesota or if that's a trend.
So some carriers, not all of them, are going to roof payment schedules, is what they're calling it. So it's what it is it's depreciating the amount that they pay out in a claim. And every carrier is specifically changing. But like, for example, if a roof starts out brand new, they are decreasing the payout on it. The average is about 3% every year. So year 2, it would go down to 97%. Year 3, it would go down to 94. So what this is doing is it's putting more action needed on the insured to kind of for the insurance company to stop paying the majority of the roof claim out. Yeah. So that's kind of a big thing that a lot of carriers are going to. But like I said, every carrier is kind of specific, so it's hard to give you an exact number on how they're doing it. But the average is about 3% per year in depreciation for that claim payout.
Yeah. So translating that into action for people, if you have a potential claim on your roof, for example, is not putting that off. It's easy to not want to deal with that. I've been guilty of that in the past. Take some action on that. That will save you some money there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Another kind of side question here. We had a good friend of ours recently had a family member whose house burnt down, and in that claims process, you have to list out everything that was in the house, which is extremely difficult to do from memory. When they worked with their agent, the agent had suggested, hey, going forward, take videos and pictures of everything in the house so that if something does happen, make that a lot easier in that claims process. What are any thoughts or recommendations on that?
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's what I always tell my clients, whether it's, if they had a water backup of a sump pump in their basement or an auto accident, the more pictures, the more videos to give to your claims representative, the better. So that's exactly right. Yep.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that's a great tip to make sure you have documented. I mean, my wife and I have been in our house for 25 to 28 years now, and we've accumulated a lot of stuff, and we should know. I mean, if we had to sit there and list after it's all gone what was in there, it would be tricky.
Yeah, hoarders need hugs too, Tony.
Yeah, I know. It's not hoarding if it's organized, though, right?
Yeah,
my record and CD collection is alphabetized, Jeff. So
okay, well, it's an investment, right?
Yeah, that's an investment.
What about if someone does renovations, additions? Any thoughts on it? You want to get the value of your home reevaluated to make sure that you have the right amount of coverage now that you've made an addition or some type of improvement?
Yeah. And people forget to do this quite a bit. But yes, that's very important to let us as your agent know of those changes. Whether it's an addition and you're adding more square footage, we want to make sure that we have the most accurate information in your policy, especially when hopefully there's not, but if there is a claim in the future. So yeah, and then if you're updating, from laminate counters to granite or quartz, the quality of your finishes, if you're doing more higher end finishes, or if you're going from carpet to hardwood, flooring. Those are all things that we need to update on your policy, or if someone's adding a detached garage or storage shed, those are all things we want to know about. So yeah, make sure to talk to your agent to get those added when they are done.
Mm-hmm. Another thing we've seen in helping clients look at coverage as home values have increased so much over the last several years as real estate continues to go up in price is making sure that you're getting that coverage updated. Is that a once a year? I guess going back to the earlier question, if you're doing a once a year review, that's something that would be evaluated as part of that process, correct?
So for dwelling coverage, that naturally goes up to keep up with inflation. So the carrier does that on their end actually for your renewals. So every
Are they
renewal, you should usually,
sorry,
you should usually go ahead.
are they truing that up based on like a flatline number, 3% a year, or are they truing that up based on, the equivalent of Zillow and what the going rate is?
Definitely probably not going off Zillow, and I don't know exactly their percentage. Every carrier is different, and we don't
Yeah.
have access to how much it's increasing every year, so I don't know that.
Okay. Okay.
What I would say to people is make sure that it's going up a little bit. The problem that we see though, when people are with the same company for 20, 30, 40 years, is they set it and forget it. They, they have it on auto pay. They don't necessarily look at it as close as they should. And then, a $300,000 house value turned into 550 or six, like, cause it kept going up and up with the insurance company and they weren't reviewing it. So I would say make sure that it's going up every renewal, but it shouldn't be going up, drastically. It should be going up to keep up with inflation.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Good. What about auto insurance? Anything people need to be aware of there as far as the types of coverage that they're getting or ways to get discounts that might not be as obvious?
I would say the largest discount out there on auto insurance side right now is doing telematics. So each carrier offers a telematics discount where whether it's a plug-in device in your car or a lot of them have a mobile app that you can download. You just have to create an account, log in, and then it kind of runs in the background of your phone. You don't have to open the app up every time you drive or anything silly like that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's one of the biggest discounts out there right now. So it monitors your driving, so it gives you a letter grade at the end of it, for braking, acceleration, speeding, the time of day you're driving, and stuff like that.
I definitely don't want to sign up for that.
Yeah. Jeff,
That's what I hear a lot of.
Yeah.
Your discount is we've raised your premiums by $130 a month. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, some carriers actually guarantee that it cannot raise renewal rates. It can only stay the same or help your policies. So that goes by each carrier is different, but
they haven't seen Jeff's data, though.
Yeah,
that could change quickly
What is
once
this
they see
guy
your
doing?
data. Jeff's data could change their minds on that one.
yeah.
Are you impacted if you get lost a lot?
I don't
Were you
know
in a
about that.
demolition derby while this app was running?
And then the other one that comes to mind is the defensive driving course. If you're 55 and older, the state of Minnesota, I think it was last year, maybe 2023, they changed it where it used to be an initial 8-hour course you could take online or go to your local community center to sign up for it. They changed that, so now the initial course is 4 hours only, which is much better than 8 from what a lot of clients are telling me. And then the renewal, it is good for, I think it's 3 years. It might be 2 or 3 years. I can't remember. And then the renewal course is 4 years to keep the discount going.
Is that through the DMV?
So it's technically through the Minnesota state, but I don't know if I know you can do it online. Online, you have, I think it's like $25, or else a lot of city halls and community centers in your each city put them on, usually like quarterly,
Yeah.
and those are free to attend.
Interesting. It upsets me that I qualify for things like that now. Like 55 plus, I'm like, wait, that's me.
Technology, AI. So AI is popping up everywhere. Have you seen that impact your industry much to this point, and how so? And we're we'll see where that evolves over time. But what are you seeing so far with AI?
No, I mean, like it kind of goes back to the telematics. I mean, that's really what the insurance carriers are really they're giving you a discount because they want to gather information on driving habits. So that's what I would say, kind of in the technology field for insurance is the telematics, and then, I mean, kind of going off of that, electronic vehicles. I read an article that those cost about 28% higher premiums than a normal car. So
I did not know that.
Is that because of fear of who knows what might happen with those, or
most likely, yeah. I don't exactly know, but they might. I think usually they usually cost quite a bit more to repair, even like a small damage. I don't know the reasoning behind the different quarter panels or what it is, but yeah, I've seen some Teslas and other ones that the average is about 28% higher than a normal vehicle. So
wow. Wow, you have to take that into consideration. But I think when Austin, when Jeff was asking you about AI, I think he wanted to know if AI was going to replace your job in the insurance industry. Is your job at risk? Can AI do what you do, Austin?
No.
Yeah, it can't. The answer is no. Yeah. Yeah. You have to have a personal relationship, and that's what you do with your clients. And that's just like Jeff and the people he works with. I think that's important.
reminds me of Office Space, of the interview. What exactly do you do?
what exactly is it you do here, Austin?
Yeah. Yep.
And question for both of you here before we wrap up. What do you call a line of men preparing to get a haircut?
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
A barbecue.
Oh no!
Oh.
Oh, I shouldn't have, but I had to.
A barbecue. I get it, kids. Do you get it? All right.
Austin, anything else you want to share with our listeners before we wrap up here?
No, I don't think so. They can reach out to me. Our office number is 651-353-2407. If they have any questions. Right now, in the last couple of years, has been an amazing time to be with a broker, especially with all the rate increases going on. It's good to have numerous carriers for options. We shop our clients' every renewal they have to ensure that they are at the lowest rate and best coverages possible. So if they're currently with a captive agency or captive agent where they only have one option, your hands are really tied with these rate increases. So it's never been a better time to be with a brokerage, whether it's us or another broker in the state. I would highly recommend reaching out to one to get quotes to see if we can save you some money.
It's a good point. With so many changes occurring, different insurance companies are probably going to be more conservative and more aggressive in their pricing. So you probably see more of a differential when changes do occur. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah. Our carriers take rate increases at different times. So we try to, take advantage of when they're shopping for our clients' renewals. We might find a rate where it hasn't increased, whereas company B increased, a couple months ago or 6 months ago. So yeah, we definitely try to take advantage of that with the numerous options we have.
Okay.
That's great. Hey,
Good.
before we go, Austin, what is the company, the brokerage you work for?
Yeah, so it's Wikstrom Insurance Agency.
And what's your website address?
Wikstrominsurance.com.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. Yeah, again, we appreciate you being on the show, and you've helped a lot of our clients save money on their insurance. So we really appreciate what you do, and everybody that's worked with you has had a fabulous experience. So if you're listening, encourage you to reach out to Austin and his team and get a quote, get a comparison, regardless of where you're at, and they'll do a good job for you. And as he mentioned a couple times, there is shop that each year. If you're with a State Farm or whomever, and you stick with them for 20 years, it may or may not be the best for your situation, but the likelihood they're the most competitive year in and year out, probably pretty low. So encourage you to reach out on that. Also, before we wrap up, for our clients, we have our educational event coming up on March 10th that you should be seeing emails and introductions about that. We're going to talk about income taxes. We're going to walk through a tax return and just a lot of joy that happens whenever we get together and share information about taxes. But we want to pull the veil back and give people some ideas about how to save money on their taxes long term, and demystify things a little bit, make people more comfortable with it. But we do appreciate again, Austin, you joining us today. Thank you to our listeners. Thank you, Tony, for joining us here. If you have any questions, give us a call at 651-842-8406. If you have any topics or questions that you would like us to talk about on the podcast for any of our advisors, give us a call or send us an email, info@paladinfinancial.com, or you can visit us on the World Wide Web at paladinfinancial.com. Thank you very much. Stay warm for those of you here in Minnesota, and make it a great rest of the week. Thank you.